Welcome to the Stek vs 20 Years of Sonic the Hedgehog. Today, it's the turn of Sonic and Knuckles. A direct sequel to Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles was originally intended to be part of Sonic 3. For the first time, the anti-hero Knuckles, the Echidna, was a playable character, equipped with the ability to glide and climb walls. Knuckles was central to the plot also, being as in Sonic 3, Knuckles was trying to stop Sonic after being lied to by Robotnik, who has now shown his true colours and stolen the Master Emerald. Knuckles must now go and retrieve it. Much like the popular cheat devices of the day, Sonic and Knuckles had a slot for other games, namely Sonic 3, which combines both games together, allowing for a playable Tails and Knuckles throughout both games. Features such as the 2 new bonus stages were added to give a total of 3 accessible in all. Now here is the complicated bit. There are a set of new Hyper Emeralds to collect if both games are played. If the player has collected any Chaos Emeralds from Sonic 3, he will be transported to the Master Emerald room upon entering the first special stage of Sonic and Knuckles. The Chaos Emeralds will be drained of power, and the race to find all of the Hyper Emeralds begins. But to find the Hyper Emeralds, the Chaos Emerald of that colour must first have been found. Finding all the Hyper Emeralds and Chaos Emeralds unlocks the Supersonic only special stage at the end of the game. The story, gameplay, sound and graphics are all the same high quality as achieved by Sonic 3. And finally, plugging Sonic 2 in will allow only Knuckles to be played in Sonic 2. Sonic 1, on the other hand, will allow access to the loop of special stages. With all that out the way, let's go play some Sonic and Knuckles. And here is Sonic 3 and Knuckles. That's right, I'm going to be playing as Knuckles. I thought I might as well, to be honest. I've been playing as Sonic for ages. There is some differences between the storyline of Sonic and Knuckles in these games, but you'll find that the basis of both storylines lies in the levels themselves. As you'll see, like with Sonic 3, this game is really a continuation of Sonic 3, I suppose I should say. There is huge emphasis on the storytelling and on how the story affects the levels, really. And it's, well, it's good. I can't really say much more than that. And you'll notice that I just kind of, well, stuck onto a wall. One of Knuckles' abilities, as I said before, is the ability to climb up walls. It makes Knuckles kind of, well, useful in some ways, but the reality is that he's actually really no better than Sonic. Because what they did for Knuckles is they actually made him a little bit slower. You'll notice that his acceleration and his jump aren't quite as good as Sonic's, which gives good balance to both characters, to be honest. After all, Knuckles does have the ability to be able to both fly, well, not really fly, but glide for a distance, and the ability to be able to climb up walls. It gives him access to areas of the levels that Sonic doesn't actually have, and obviously this creates a design problem for the creators themselves, in that they have to actually create all these little nooks and crannies for Knuckles to be able to get into. And what you find when you're playing this game is that Knuckles actually follows how he does in the Sonic storyline, in that when he's in the Sonic storyline, there's certain areas that Knuckles kind of, well, gets on Sonic's nerves. And these areas actually become playable when you're playing as Knuckles. Oh, Emerald. Yep. And I'm going to suck at these again. I will give it my best shot and see how I do. I've only got to get 67, but I'll still manage to mess that up, I should think. What was I saying before? I was talking about Knuckles' ability to get into different areas. And you'll notice that, obviously, the bonus stages are the same for Sonic and Knuckles. There is no difference there, unfortunately. It would have been nice, but it's not really any different. And no, you can't glide or climb up walls or anything as Knuckles. It's just literally the bonus stage as it is with Sonic. Come on, let's see if I can actually be any good at one of these bonus stages. Sorry, I am trying to concentrate now because I've sucked at every bonus stage I've done throughout these games. I don't know if I've got a single... I think I might have during Sonic 2 got the Chaos Emerald. But let's see. Oh, new ball. the spring ball, which allows you to jump over. You'll notice that as I get more balls, this is why I can never do these bonus stages, I'm actually getting faster, which for me is a pain because I was never any good at these to begin with. I can't really do them when they're going slowly. And this is one thing you find often with these bonus stages, is the way they're set up. You end up losing where all the balls are. So I've got 8 balls to get now, which means only one section, but where do I have to go? So you can jump over here, and yep, pretty much lost the last 8 blue balls. And no. Oh, come on. Yep, I am recording this live as I'm playing it, and this is one of the things that can happen. I can get completely lost and not know where I'm going. And boing, 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 spring, spring, spring. Oh, you know what? If I don't find these in a couple of seconds, I'm just going to give up the ghost and lose. Because I'm sure you don't want to be seeing this. Hey, here we go. And now 4 left. Oh, here we are. Am I actually going to do this? Wait! I got a Chaos Emerald. I don't normally get Chaos Emeralds. Now, one thing that Sonic and Knuckles was really good at is the stage variety. And I don't mean the actual stages themselves and the look and the feel of the stage, but you'll notice that certain things in each stage actually differ in, obviously, the little nuances. So there's certain bits in each stage, like those poles, they only actually feature in this stage. And these giant loops, they only feature those things on the floor that grab you. A lot of these things only feature in very specific stages. And to be honest, I think that's, well, brilliant. That is exactly what a game really should be. It's got a superb variety. And it really kind of capitalizes on the storytelling that Sonic 3 introduced into the game. And not just the storytelling aspect, but the actual narrative of the game. It does carry on, and it does kind of get better as it's going, which, is, well, it's exactly what you want out of a game. You know, obviously Sonic 2 really locked down the actual gameplay elements for Sonic. And I know there's a couple that are introduced during Sonic 3, but Sonic 2 really did lock down the gameplay elements. So Sonic 3 really capitalised on those elements, and Sonic and Knuckles again capitalised on those elements. And one thing that you will see in Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles is the variety of bosses. You see, in Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, the bosses were very kind of plain and boring. And in Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic 3 they were a little bit better, but really here in Sonic and Knuckles you'll see that it is kind of really odd what I'm having to do with this actual boss. And yep, I don't really want to die there and show myself as being not very good yet again. I never quite got this minigame. The one thing I've never got really with Sonic games is why there's a score. I don't get why there's a score. I don't, to be honest, see the point in it. And why, you have the ability to be able to knock the signpost around at the end is A, for score, and B, if you're lucky, you might actually land on a television at the bottom. See, I was talking before about Knuckles carrying on where Sonic doesn't. Well, in the Sonic version of this game, Sonic actually gets blown up in the air by Knuckles when Knuckles pulls the lever. So in the Knuckles version of the game, you just get to carry on, knock through the wall, and run along. Now, one thing you'll have noticed right between there and here is that the colour of the stage changes. It's really nice to see not just variety in the stages themselves, but the way they're laid out. Sonic and Knuckles kind of did this in the first level, and unfortunately, it's not really in the rest of the levels. This is, a change. It's not a change in the actual style of the level. It's a change in the colour palette to reflect each season. And what you'll see in this game is, in this level, is that this is actually going to change 3 times in this one level. And unfortunately, it only happens in this level. There's like colour palette changes and shift sometimes, but really, this is the one that really shows it off. And new gameplay elements in Sonic and Knuckles that weren't in Sonic 3, these kind of, toadstool umbrellas, really. I don't really know what to call them. They are toadstools. They are umbrellas, I suppose. They just allow you to glide around, and just one of those things that adds the aspect of diversity into the game. And one thing that really makes, again, this game kind of stand out amongst most games for the Mega Drive, really, not just the Sonic series. And yes, you'll notice that I like this game. I'm not going to lie, I really do like this game. I think it's a really good game. I think it's really well put together, I think it's well staged, and I think the elements of gameplay are really, really well done. And those things get really, really annoying. And so do those birds. Yes, being pushed back. I mean, it was bad enough in Sonic 1 and 2 when we just had springs, but now we have to deal with cockerels pushing us around. And, yep, you'll notice that I'm kind of speeding through. There we go. The change into the third colour palette change. And to be honest, out of the 3 colour palettes, I really like this last one. I like the kind of the slightly emerald green colour to it. And that was silly. Why did I do that? One thing that the Sonic series has always managed to keep up since Sonic 1, I suppose, is the variety in enemies. And they are labelled badniks, and I suppose they're more called badniks in the cartoons than anything else. It's not really mentioned that much in the game, obviously, unless you actually read the manual. I don't even think it's really mentioned in the dialogue of Sonic Adventure all that much, to be completely honest, but we shall find out that when I actually go play Sonic Adventure. I haven't done that video yet, and yep, here we go. I'm going to not do very well again, and spring. I would show you a bonus stage, but unfortunately last bonus stage I actually missed it. And here we go, into the boss. Ow, wasn't very nice. This is another one of those bosses, you know. The two first Knuckles bosses really do give an example of what bosses actually can be in a Sonic game. It's a shame, really, because I know quite a lot of them do fall flat on their faces as being not particularly good. But these bosses really are very good. Well, very that good. Very that good doesn't make any sense. I apologise. I'm kind of coming to the end of this video and making a mess of things right now, because I'm paying too much attention to this boss. Yes, it does take a lot of attention. And frustratingly enough, it can become quite difficult if you don't pay attention to these bosses. I do enjoy these bosses, to be honest. The Sonic and Knuckle bosses really do, you know, they are the better bosses out of the 3. And what I did with Sonic 3 is I carried on a little bit past the first stage. Normally I'd go through the first act, second act, and then stop there. But I want to show off these transitions. And I did talk about how the actual staging and how the scripted events help the Sonic games. Well, it carries on into each stage. That there is kind of a small scripted event almost at the end of every act and every zone. Every act and every zone, and it carries on into the next stage. And you'll see that, you know, we jumped on the spaceship, and we're now here on the ship itself, flying in midair. And it really does kind of show, really, that they've tried to make that drive towards being a narrative game that had different gameplay elements to it. And what I will say now is that was Sonic and Knuckles. I'm the Stek. I'll see you around.